in this next 10, 7 to 61, you're going to see some well-known classics and probably one or two you may never have heard of before, along with something unique to my top 100 list. That is, I only have one of these on my games on my list. So let's get right into it. My number 70 game is a two-player game only about two villages competing over beer and bread. And that game is, well, beer and bread. It's a game played over 6 rounds, alternating between fruitful years and dry years. Each year has the same phases, but functions slightly different. The main difference between the years is why I enjoy this game so much. In fruitful years, players are going to take turns by playing a card from their hand and doing the actions, then they're going to be swapping hands. The cards played will either allow you to harvest from the fields, produce or sell, or upgrade and clean. The cards have 3 sections on them, so to perform one of these actions, you're using a different section of the card. In the dry years, you're going to take all the cards you use for the harvest back into your hand and draw more cards. So you have a combination of old cards and new cards. And then you're going to play them all in this round. No exchanging cards. You do have an option to exchange some cards, which is definitely helpful through kind of an external mechanism. So this game has multi-use cards, which I love in games, and an interesting drafting mechanism that is split into 2 parts. It's just so good, a solid 2-player game, and it's my number 70 on my top 100 games. My number 69 game reduces the player count even more, and this is the only solo game I have on my list. This is called Coffee Roaster. Your goal is to brew the perfect cup of coffee, and all through a very fun bag building process. You pick the roast you want to achieve. You're going to add those tokens to your bag, and you're given like a target number of turns. Each round you can be pulling tokens out of the bag. They could be beans, which could be roasted and their value increased. There could be moisture, or there could be flavor tokens, which can be used to do certain effects to make your life a little easier in this game. Some of the tokens go back into the bag. Once you feel you've roasted enough, you go to the cup test, where you draw tokens from the bag and decide if they will go basically into your cup or into your tray, and you only have so many tray spots. After drawing 10 tokens, you see if you've achieved the perfect roast. Now, I'm terrible at this game, but something about it just keeps me coming back. This is such a fun puzzle. There's some push your luck and knowing what the best time to use those special flavor tokens. Most of the time when I play this one, when I finish roast, I think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to try one more to see if I can beat my score and get that perfect roast. Maybe one of these days I'll even graduate to the higher levels of challenge. But this is my one and only solo game on my list, and it comes in at number 69. My number 68 game is actually on the opposite side of the player count, and this is Amul. It really shines at 5 or more players and can handle easily up to 8. The game is played over 9 rounds. In each round, players are going to get a card, then they choose from the ones in their hand to add to a market. Then in player order, each player is going to take a card from that market. Each player will then play a card into the tableau. Some cards need to be in your tableau to score, and some of them need to be in your hand. Now the goal of the game is of course to get the most points, and there are going to be various ways to do this. Sometimes the card is going to have you compare against your neighbors, or maybe you want to be collecting certain sets of things, or have certain traits in your cards to score more points. I think really why this game is on my list is it's a very fast draft and tableau building game where almost all play is simultaneous. Even at the higher player counts, you're still done in under an hour, but it gives me that good turn angst when I see the cards in the market. I will of course want certain ones to go with my plan, so maybe I invest in the army so I can jump to the front of the line later in the game. Or, you know what, maybe I just try and pivot and try and collect something that I see no one else is collecting. But for me, the enjoyment comes down to trying to figure out the best way to score my cards each game and making the call on which ones I want to play. The game is basically quick enough, but I still feel like I'm getting a really fun time, and why it's the number 68 on my list. Number 67 is a true classic, and this is Ticket to Ride. And for this list, I'm going to say Ticket to Ride Europe. That's my favorite version. Ticket to Ride for me is kind of the perfect weeknight game. It's the default game I always pull out when people that are interested in playing a game, but maybe have only played maybe mass market games. For me, it's almost like comfort food. I've played all the maps several times, and I always buy the new ones as they come out. It's a game of set collection and route building, where you take one action on your turn from a possible 3. Nice and straightforward. But for me, this is kind of a true classic, and it's been around for over 20 years, and I hope it keeps on going. But what keeps this on my list is that it's so welcoming and easy to explain, but when I play it with gamers who have played this a lot of times, it can become very cutthroat. Knowing the key choke points and building them early just to control the flow of the game is fun with experienced players. So it's a really good balance for me. I can bring it out with people who are new to the hobby and have a really good time, or play with my wife and friends who have played this many times and still have a great time. And that's why it's my number 67 on my top 100 games. 66 on my list is another classic, but probably not one that I would pull out with new players to the hobby. This one is Brass Birmingham. This is all about building networks on the board to connect different resource hubs, coal mines, breweries, ironworks, and more. The game is split over kind of 2 eras, which does have a thematic tie-in. You first start moving off goods by the canal system, but at some point the game you switch over to building rails, as the canals are slow and outdated. What puts this game in my top 100 is a couple of things. First is the shared resources. If you have a network of connected, let's say, coal mines that has coal in it, you can transport it to a place that wants it. And this transferring of goods will also impact the marketplace. The game is a combination of logistics game, which I love, and a tight economy fluctuation based on the player actions. And this market fluctuation is so much fun. If you build early, someone else might use your resource. But if you leave it too long, the market may already be saturated. So there's a whole balancing act between income generation, resource control, and network expansion. I can definitely see why this game is so highly rated on the Board Game Geek. I like it so much that I actually bought the game twice. Yes, years apart, but I did buy it twice, and that's why it's my number 66 game. 65 on my list is mobile markets. This one's interesting. I enjoy the predecessor Smartphone Inc., but felt it worked best on the higher player counts. I was looking for a version that worked better at the kind of the opposite end. A mobile market keeps the same feel as the original, but plays better at the smaller player counts, 2 to 3 players. The main mechanism of this is why it's on my list, and I love this little puzzle. You have 2 double-sided boards with various actions: pricing, technology, marketing, and production. You overlap these tiles, and that's going to determine kind of your strengths for the next round. The layout of your tiles directly impacts how many phones you produce, the tech features, and how much you can market, and how much your phones are going to sell for. Because this is all done secretly by all players simultaneously, it makes watching how your opponent's boards are set up kind of critical. You have the opportunity to undercut your opponents, or maybe they will corner one segment of the population. You can see who you will be selling to and what they want and how much they're willing to spend. You are directly competing against your opponents to sell to a limited market, so careful planning is required so you don't get stuck with product that nobody wants. And it's all this direct competition requires the reading of your opponent's possible actions, combined with that fun puzzle of overlapping your tiles at the beginning of the round, that makes this game number 65 on my top 100 games. Number 64 on my list is a game I'm pretty sure you've never heard of. Most people I've told about this game say they've never heard of it, and this is called Rhine River Trade. You've not heard of it? I'm not surprised. This is a pure logistics game, on the level of needing spreadsheets to keep things straight. And I love it, but I realize the limited appeal it has. But many people I've played it with actually did say they would play it again, so that's a good sign. Each player owns a logistics company shipping goods from Basel. There are 3 modes of shared transportation: boat, train, and planes, and each player also has a truck. As the play progresses, players are going to be taking on contracts. Each contract will show you how many goods a city wants, and there's a range of options, like deliver 1 for $1 or deliver 7 for $10. Each contract also has a time limit. It must be delivered in, let's say, 3 turns. You're going to lose some money. The shared transportation only moves if it has enough cargo on it. Doesn't matter whose, but placing each cargo costs money, as does setting destination. So hopefully someone has already paid for a stop in a city that you want to get to. Each transportation has a speed it's going to travel each round, and as I keep explaining things, you can probably see why there's a lot to keep track of. Each decision has to be weighed on how much it's going to cost versus how much you're going to get in return. Because at the end of it, you're spending your victory points to do all these actions. I'm just fascinated and thoroughly enjoy this game, and if you want a game with a simple mechanism but will hurt your brain near the end trying to work out if you should take another contract or not. The only reason why this game is not higher on my list is because of the random contract draws at the beginning of the round and the impact it has on the current round. But that's not enough to drop it any further down, as I always enjoy my plays of my number 64 game. 63 on my list is one I'm sure you've heard of. This is Ark Nova. It's a game where each player is a zoo manager trying to build the most successful and conservation-focused zoological park. Now the game revolves around a player's action selection, and this is one of the reasons why I enjoy this game so much. On your turn, you're going to choose one of the 5 action cards. Actions such as get cards, build, place animals, and get sponsors or form associations. There's going to be in a slot. The number of the slot determines the strength of the action. Once the action is done, that action moves to slot 1, the weakest, and you slide all the other cards up. So this is part of a tactical puzzle of the game. Do you play a weaker action now, or wait until it gets stronger? Or maybe take a less optional move to push the other actions further up because you need to take one of those as a stronger action. This, combined with over 250 unique cards, means that you have to react tactically to the cards in your hand, while not losing sight of your longer term goals. I also always enjoy that there's a dual scoring track, and when these 2 tracks cross is what triggers the end of the game. So players are not tied to doing the same thing. They can concentrate on different aspects of the game. The game has fallen slightly for me over the last year or so, but it's still strong enough to be on my top 100 list at number 63. Number 62 on my list is another old one from 2011, and it's called Hawaii. Here each player takes on the role of a leader trying to build the most prosperous village across the Hawaiian Islands. The main mechanisms are worker placement and tile placement, and the game takes place over 5 rounds. Each round you're going to be moving your chieftain around the island to purchase elements to add to your village. These prices can change from round to round, and your resources seem to be ever dwindling. Now the main currencies are feet, which are used to move around the village, and shells to pay for the items you want to add to your village. What really keeps this on my list is the whole village building piece and the changing landscape of what you can afford. Each spot for goods only has so many purchasing spots, so if all the spots are taken, you may be out of luck. These do get filled every round, but it does offer some risk as the price can change. I also like that it's up to the players when they pass. There's no fixed number of actions that you're going to take in a round. It will all depend on your resources. There are several ways to score points during the game, and also there's going to be end of game scoring. My favorite part is really the village building. When you get a tile, you can pay the price shown on the token for the basic side, or you can pay double to flip it over to get it more powerful. And what row do you put it in? You have 5 rows to choose from, with of course some placement restrictions. This is one of those comfort Euros, ones that aren't overly complex, aren't overly rules long, but still feel satisfying when I finish playing. Maybe not the first game I pull off the shelf, but every time I play I'm reminded that yes, I still do really enjoy playing this one. So that is my number 62. And the last one for the set is number 61, and that is Cinque Terre. This is a pick up and deliver game set in the coastal villages of Liguria in Italy. Each player has a produce cart where they'll be harvesting fruits and vegetables from the farms and delivering them to the 5 villages. Each village will pay a different amount for produce based on demand, which are going to be set by dice. You can deliver something, but you may only score 1 point for it. The game is almost a race. Players are taking 3 actions on their turn, moving their cart, drawing more produce cards, collecting produce by discarding produce cards, and delivering them to the villages. The main goal is to be fulfilling public objectives during a game, and fulfilling your secret objectives by the end of the game. The main reason why I like this one is this is another midweight Euro that still gives me lots of turn angst, because everyone can see the public objectives, and you can see what produce each player has. There is a real turn angst in hoping you can beat the people to the public objectives that you are going for. The game ends when someone has claimed 5 public objectives, which are replaced when claimed, and claiming them gives you the option to actually get more secret objectives. Now, just because you're the first player to claim those 5 public objectives doesn't mean you're going to win the game. It all depends on what people have in their hands that they have hopefully completed. This is another perfect weeknight game for me. It's fun, quick, but still gives me everything I want from a pick up and deliver game. Just the right amount of tension and working out the best strategy by looking at the state of the board and what I think the other players are going for. And that is why it's my number 61 game. So there you have it, my number 70 through 61. It definitely leaned more to the older games, both well known and probably a few you may not have heard of or maybe haven't heard of in a while. There are some later weeknight games in this section, but a few brain burners as well. And this trend will continue, but start to shift more to kind of the brain burner ones. So until next time, thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.